judgments that God passes on this world come upon us. It's not the end of the world, but it is the end of our world. And we need to approach those times with humility and obedience to the Lord. The purpose behind God's jealous wrath is not because he lacks something, but because he does not want his creation to be destroyed by us. And so he destroys it so that remnant might be purified. All the people of the earth may survive this because they're going to give honor and praise to the Lord. But people who do not give honor and praise to the Lord will be gone in a heartbeat. But then everything changes. And these are the tidings of joy. And these are tidings worth noting and singing about and praising God for, because these promises are amazing. The first part of this joy that God sends to us has to do with the promises that he makes himself. Then will I. It's his doing. It's not something that he's going to allow to happen. It's not something that he's going to send some emissaries to do. This is all about him. He is going to draw near. He is going to be part of our world. He is going to come and bless us. It's all about him. He says, I will purify. I will purify this people. He is going to do it. One of my favorite books is coming out in a movie here in a couple days, Voyage of the Dawn Treader. You ought to go see it, especially if you have children. And then discuss all the various little tidbits. Some of the tidbits are not going to be in the movie. I can just tell you that right up front. One of them that should be, and I don't know if it is or not, is about Eustace. Eustace is an ornery, evil little child. His name is Eustace Clarence Scrubbs, and he almost deserved his name. That's what the book says. Because he's a mean, nasty, rotten little child. Well, Eustace runs away from work and doesn't want to do what he's supposed to, and he finds a dragon's den. And he climbs into the dragon's den, and he falls asleep on the dragon's gold. And because he's a dragon inside, because he has got dragonish thoughts, magically he is transformed into a dragon. And once he realizes what he is on the inside and what he is on the outside, he starts to repent the fact that he is a dragon. He realizes how people have seen him and how badly he's been behaving. So he repents of being a dragon, but he can't do anything about it because he's a dragon. But then Aslan, the great king, who is represented in these stories by, Jesus is represented in these stories by Aslan, the lion. Aslan meets him one night and says, do you want to stop being a dragon? And Eustace is going, yeah, I don't want to be a dragon anymore. And Aslan says, all right, you have to take off your skin. And Eustace goes, well, what's that all about? That sounds strange. But then he realizes that dragons are kind of lizard-like critters and that they sometimes shed their skin. And so he starts scratching at himself, and great globs of skin come off of him. And he goes, oh, that felt so good. But then he looks down and goes, wait a minute, I'm still a dragon. And Aslan says, do it again. And he starts peeling off more skin, and he's still a dragon. And he peels off more skin, and he's still a dragon. He peels off more skin, and he's still a dragon. And he's frustrated because no matter what he does, he's still a dragon underneath. So then Aslan says, you're going to have to let me do it. And Eustace looks at this lion and his great claws and those sharp fangs and says, oh, is this going to hurt? And Aslan says, yeah. But it's the only way to stop being a dragon. And Eustace says, sure. All right, I'll put up with it. And it did hurt as Aslan dug his claws in and great chunks of the dragon come off. And Aslan peels all of the dragon off of him, and he comes out a little boy again. Well, God has to purify us. This is one of those great stories you can talk to your kids and go, what does that mean? It means a lot to me because I know that I'm a dragon inside, and I can become pretty good. I can get rid of a lot of outer layers of dragon, but I'm still a dragon inside. God has to purify us. He has to come and rip off all of that dragon to allow the child inside of us to emerge. God is still speaking to the people of Jerusalem. But now he is speaking about a hope that comes after the destruction. After the purification, they will emerge. They will stop being dragons, and they will start being the children that he had wanted. The first promise that he has is that he will purify the lips of the people for worship. The purifying of the lips is always about forgiveness. It's always about sin in the Bible. Isaiah asks that God would cleanse his lips, because he dwelt in a nation of unclean lips, and he was a person of unclean lips. The purpose of this overturning, the purpose of this cleansing, is so that we could serve him shoulder to shoulder. I like the phrase, but it doesn't quite mean that. What it means is that we can rise up early to shoulder the load of the day. It was a metaphor they used, a phrase that they used, of getting up early, of being eager to go to the work, of doing work, of actual labor, but we're anxious to do it. We want to do it. And we want to serve the Lord. And God gives us the desire to serve the Lord so that we can serve him shoulder to shoulder. That shoulder imagery is continued in verse 10, where it says, so that my scattered people might shoulder offerings into my presence, might bring offerings into my presence, pack them up on their backs, and haul them in to the temple. The purpose behind God's fiery anger, his jealous rage, is so that he can create a worshiping people who will bring in these offerings, who will shoulder the work, who will do it eagerly, rising up early before they have to, and coming in and worshiping him. He says he's going to leave a remnant. He now starts talking directly to that humble remnant, to you, to us. If we are obedient, if we are humble before him, God is talking to us. The first time after the first part of these verses, the phrase "on that day" is no longer something to be feared. It may cause us a lot of torment. I am a pre-tribulational rapture person. I believe that God will come before the tribulation starts and take us to meet him in the air. But I don't know that for certain. I will be very upset if that doesn't happen, because that means that bad things are going to happen to us. But it isn't the first time that bad things will happen to us. It isn't the first time that bad things will have happened to you. But God says that that day when bad things, and there will be amazingly bad things, is not the end of it. There are blessings that will follow.